Oh. We start. Take. Put it here. Put the Majid. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. MashaAllah, we meet again. Inshallah, this session it will be slightly different. We're going to continue with what we did yesterday. But today, first of all, I think it's also important that, as the teacher Hazrat Sahab said earlier, that where you all filled in your the personal details of what you like to achieve. So obviously we saw a certain generic trend in there as to like what we all want. Obviously there's specifics as well, and inshallah after the generic session we shall inshallah also able to see one-to-one as well. So any specific advice or specific issue you like to discuss, then we can discuss that as well, inshallah.
Can I just request the brothers just cuddle a little bit more, because I think they're going to do some testing of the light. So if we can just cuddle a bit more to this side. What we'll do is that, you know what, Shah? Let's stand there and get them all to face there, that way.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
and basically it takes them all the way to that corner.
Okay,
so
that's.
Kindly just request that if you can all just.
So if I can just request like we sit in the nighttime gathering.
Then they can do their testing here.
Is that us? Ji, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine, inshallah. Was Ishtiaq? Give that to Ustad upstairs, Abdul Rahim and Ustad Usman. Just give it to them. They'll know what it is, inshallah. Are we all okay to go then? Yeah, inshallah. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. As I was just saying that inshallah, so we shall continue with our, the exercise we did yesterday in terms of how to develop the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also it's important that we also then actually address and give like some generic advice and then some practical advice in terms of some of the requests that you all individually made, which we have in our hand. So inshallah, what we're going to do in this session now is we want to make it obviously as generic as possible. So one, it helps for you to like get an understanding, an explanation given to you. And number two, then others who might have similar aspirations or issues that they like to also be dealt with and get answers and consultation for, you also get like a generic answer. Then obviously then third stage would be inshallah, then we'll all get a chance to see at a one-to-one level, in terms of trying to discuss any specifics, any details, or any work out like a plan, or you could say like a care plan for each person they could work towards in month of for the rest of the month of Ramadan and Itikaf. And obviously, more importantly, you would agree that after month of Ramadan, because that's when all the shayateens are released and the real battle or the test starts then, that we're in our own localities, and then you'll see like the habits and things are coming back, and how do we resist and tackle that. And just one good thing to note, and good news as well, that what we provide this support is not just for limited Itikaf or Ramadan only, but throughout the year as well. Like for example, periodically after every month or every 2 months, that you feel as though I need that again advice, I've come across a new stumbling block or a new issue has arisen and I don't know what to deal with it, and it's affecting my spirituality, my deen, my so on, my salah. Then inshallah, like in this center, we have other centers as well, like in Oldham and Hyde. You can consult us and inshallah can seek further advice. Also, obviously, throughout the course of the rest of the Itikaf, we'll also introduce to yourselves that there are actually online facilities you can actually go and find out. But obviously, we'll mention that later on. It's not so important now. So inshallah, as I'm going to carry on and go through some of these generic requests, I would also like to invite our Honorable Ustad Qais. He's sat at the back. If you can come to the stage front for us. He's also some of you might know that he was actually Imam for approximately 4 years in Nelson, one of the masjids. Brothers from Nelson, they know him. They would know him from there, inshallah. And obviously, he, in the past he studied in Jamia al-Azhar as well as in Syria as well. He was there for a while. So inshallah, so great knowledge and expertise he can actually learn from, inshallah. So briefly, I would just like to pass on to Ustad Qais, Imam Qais, inshallah, and maybe we'd like to start the first one, generic one, and then what we'll also do, if you have any question that comes into your mind, you can put your hand up, and we'll give you that time to have a quick fire question as well regarding what's been discussed, inshallah. And then, like I said, either this session or maybe another session, inshallah, we'll arrange so that you can have that one-to-one between myself and Ustad Imam Qais, inshallah. Okay.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. But if you can just kindly just get a microphone here and just don't put the awaz so loud so that we can just, otherwise it's going to be, there's quite a lot of people. If you sat at the back, you're not going to be able to hear it. Okay. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. A lot of the things, when we analyze these sheets, as Shaykh Ahmad Abbaga, honorable teacher, what they said was that a lot of the commonalities what we found in there was that a lot of you asking is, I want to know my purpose. How should I live my life? What is the purpose of my existence? I want to live a life which is purposeless, meaningless. What should I be doing? And that is fundamental and that is important, because as you heard today earlier on, like what they said is that if a person has a purpose, and if, for example, when you're outside and you see some gangsters, they're on the streets and they're actually on the streets, and why do we not like those people who are actually just roaming around, just beating the music away and just driving around and beating away and put the loud music on and have no purpose, just going around the block again and again? We don't like them. But normal drivers who drive it, they go to one destination from here to all the way to London, let's say. We have no issues with that. It's because they have a destination, they have a journey. So it's important, as you, as myself, as yourselves, we are supposed to be human beings, we're also on a journey, and we need to know what that journey is. And I do believe that Ustad Majid yesterday did go and explain some bits of that yesterday, didn't he? So first of all, let me ask you a question. Everybody should know this, isn't it? Everybody should be aware. But let's start with this generic one. Then about the Salah, we'll talk about that, hopefully either today or tomorrow. We're going to do about 4 sessions of this, so don't worry about it. We're going to take our time so that everyone is clear. And remember, this is pinpointing the things that you have all said, and we're trying to make sure facilitate it collectively, and then individually, like Ustaz Shahalom actually said, is that we will actually try and actually individually tailor your need to whatever your specifics were. So first question to yourself is, first of all, who are we? Have you ever asked that question to yourself? Is that maybe you're 30, you're 40, you're 20s or 50s, whatever. You probably never asked that question and said, well, let me just start by saying is that, who are we? Okay, so brother, I know just behind in the brown, not yourself with the glasses here. Who are we? Who are you?
Muslim.
Okay, you're a Muslim, fine. Brother, the turban at the back, who are you? Who are we? A human being. So we've got 2 answers already, which is different. One is human being, another one's a Muslim. Brother here, who are we? Who are you? Shu'aib. Okay. No, fine. This is what you're going to say. You're Shu'aib. Okay, you're Shu'aib. Okay. Shu'aib, what's your full name, brother?
Shu'aib Khan.
Shu'aib Khan. You're Shu'aib Khan. But who are you? Who is Shu'aib Khan? Because there's Shu'aib Akhtar, there's Shu'aib Imran Khan, there's others. You're the ummati of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so he's saying Shu'aib Khan is the ummati of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we're all ummatis as well. Who are we then? Okay, brother, who are we? Okay, everybody's slaves of Allah. Even the plants and the animals consider they're slaves of Allah as well, can't they? So who are we? So brother, the back name Mohsin, who are we? Travelers. Everybody. So everybody's also a traveler as well. Everybody can say that as well. People are traveling. So brother, who are we? So look at this. Already we've had how many? We've asked about 6 people, 6 different answers. But the thing is, fundamentally, is that if we don't know who we are, we can't answer the question of what our purpose is yet. If we don't understand this point, you might think it's trivial, but it's a question that they ask in theology. You go to theology, they are asking this question. Philosophers and theologists, they will be asking this fundamental question of finding who they are. And if you do not know who you are, then how will you know what your purpose is, and how will you know how to fulfill that purpose? That's why it's so important to ask. We're asking this question now. We're asking this to ourselves. Who are we? So brother there, who are we?
We
This is correct. We are one of the creation of the Creator. But also the plant will say, I'm a creation of the Creator. The animal will say, I'm a creation of the Creator. The stars will say, I'm a creation of the Creator. The moon will say, I'm the creation of the Creator. But we all have different purpose. What is our purpose? If you don't, now the plant knows. The honeybee, like you've seen in today's example, he knows his purpose. He knows his job is to produce honey, to go to a nectar, to get that, and then to make honey. The ant knows his purpose. The plant knows his purpose. The sun knows his purpose. But me and you still don't know who we are. And if me and you don't know who we are, what is our purpose then? Okay? Okay, Ahmed, here we go. Ahmed is very clever. He's going to tell us.
We're all real men.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah, we're real men. Sons of Adam, we're real men. I'm sure, unfortunately, he's been actually hired by Nivea cream and to actually do an advert. No, I'm only joking. No. So basically, he said we're real men. Unfortunately, we're probably opposite of that, because when the time real men, then they don't shy away from battle. But why is it when shaitan comes, we shy away? We're like wimps. When the desire comes, we're wimps. When evil comes, we're wimps. So even that testimony cannot hold true. Because if it was true, if we're real men, we should be something higher, above this. But unfortunately, we're not. But who are we? So look, again, okay, brother, yes, who are we?
I believe a soul in this body and my purpose is.
Okay, that's good, mashallah, soul. Now, for the sake of understanding, is that what we'll do is that mashallah, that brother is correct, but the one word we need to use is, for the sake of it, from now, we're going to refer to the soul as the spirit. Okay, we're going to refer to it as the spirit. The reason why is because the soul really usually refers to the ego, the nafs. Okay, and the spirit is the ruh. So the Arabic word is the ruh. We are the ruh. We are the spirit. And yesterday, what Ustaz Majid should have talked to you and explained to you is what happened in the world of spirit. You do know what happened, don't you?
Just so quickly
okay.
ask then, did you all sat in the halakah which took place after the second session?
Actually, no, he didn't. He didn't go. He didn't do it. He just didn't he? Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. Many apologies. Sorry, Ustaz Majid as well. Apologies. I thought you might have done it. No, they didn't. He told me that he didn't go through it. Yes, I realized. So, okay, so alhamdulillah, that's good. So now what we'll do is that we're going to try and explain to you. Ideally, would have been better with some diagrams. That now we know, everybody's clear. Who are we? Who are we? Spirit. Now you'll be saying, but what does that mean? Spirit. Okay, what happened? So now we know that we're the spirit. Okay, we're not. For example, we're not this body. When you look at this body, for example, brother said he's Shu'aib Khan. Now Shu'aib, the reason why we can't say Shu'aib Khan is, when you say Shu'aib Khan, who do you mean? This body that you're seeing, is this what you mean? Shu'aib, I'm asking you a question. Do you mean, when you say this body, is this what you mean? Now, why is this incorrect? For example, if you say your name is Ghulam Murtaza, or your name is Ahmed, or your name is Shu'aib, or your name is Bilal, or whatever it is. Yeah, understand my point here. If we say my name is Shu'aib, let's say for example, or my name is Bilal, or my name is Ghulam Murtaza, or my name is Fulan, yeah? Now what happens is that I look at the mirror and think, Alhamdulillah, I look very beautiful, Alhamdulillah, I look good. And then unfortunately, for a bit, what happens when I look at the mirror, this is who I think I am. This is Bilal. Bilal looks good. Yes, Bilal wears nice clothes. Bilal wears good thingies and he's got a good job. But what happens is that when, Allah forbid, let's say somebody passes away. Now, he's now lying there on the floor. We're going to now offer janazah. So the Imam will say, and the people say, bring. Do they say, bring Bilal over here? Hey, what? Why? Why are you separating now? Why are you saying bring the body? That's Bilal, isn't it? It's Bilal, isn't it? But no, we're not saying Bilal, because why is it then we say bring the body of Bilal? Bring the body of Shu'aib, bring the body of Azhar, bring the body. We realize then at that time, when we're offering salah to janazah, or when we're actually passed, or somebody passes away, this is the body. Where's Bilal then? Where's Bilal? Where's Shu'aib? I know he's here, but I'm talking about General Shu'aib. Where's Bilal? Where's Shu'aib? Where's Zain? Where have they gone? Where is he? That tells you, you are affirmed to the fact that this body is not you. Everybody now acknowledges body is not me. But unfortunately, before we go, we think that this is me. This is not us. We are not the body. We are not the intellect. We are not the heart. We are not the feelings. We are the spirit, the ruh. Is everybody clear on that? I want you to be all clear. We are the ruh. We are the spirit. We are not the body. We are not the akal, the intellect. We are not the heart. Like some people say, I think I'm a person who feels. Yeah, I'm a feely person, so this is me. Okay? We are not the feelings of we are not the heart. And we are not the ego, the soul. We're not this. We are the spirit, the ruh. We are this. Now, what you have to understand is that, like a brother said here, we're all on a journey. 100%. We're all on a journey. We're a traveler. 100%. 100% we're a traveler. But let me ask you a question. When did this journey start then? Surely if there's a journey, there's got to be a beginning point and there's got to be an end point, isn't it? Yes? So where did it start? So brother there where you had the hand.
I believe from our mother's womb.
Mother's womb. Good. He's saying that he believes, the brother is saying is that he believes it started in the womb of our mother. Okay? It started in the womb of the mother. Brother, you got your hand up. Where did it start?
When it start when
Sorry.
Allah Ta'ala asked us all the rules, obey us, obey Allah. When He promised, when all the rules promised to Allah,
Uh-huh.
that's the journey started, the first journey.
Okay. So mashallah is good. He's saying is that really, effectively, our journey, this journey that we're talking about, we are on a journey, it didn't really start in the womb of our mother. That's just one phase, one aspect of our journey. The real aspect, the real phase, the real beginning of our journey, it was not even then actually. It was not even then. This is one aspect of it. It's actually, yes, brother?
When the soul was created.
When the soul was created, when the spirit was created, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by His will, because there was a time when nothing was existing. No trees, no animals, no human beings, nothing whatsoever. No angels, no heaven, no earth, nothing whatsoever. And it was just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. No time was even existing. And then by His qudra, by His power, by His grace and by His might, He created creation. He created the creation.
Brother Sufyan, brother, what's your name? Are you okay there? Because we got the brother sitting on chairs. You can just come on this side and lean against the wall if you're feeling tired or...
Is that our Sufyan?
Yes.
Yes.
of course.
Is that Sufyan? So, mashallah. I've not seen you for a while, so mashallah. Well done, Alan.
Yeah, you want to just come here, there's a wall they can lean against. Then we can able to see you. See. That's
Okay.
thank you.
So, is that there was no time even. Nothing was existing, just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And by His power, by His qudra, by His might, by His mercy as well, He created creation. Okay? Then what happened was that when He created the creation, our spirit, my spirit, your spirit was also created. As it's created, now we come to the point. There's four, remember this like as if black and white, don't forget this, what we're going to say here, is you got to remember this because this is going to tell you fundamentally why you should worship, and why you should strive towards worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the pleasure akhirah, because this is not going to tell you and whom you should worship and how you should worship. These are going to be answering the question. 4 very important incidents took place in the world of spirit. The first one was this, is that the first thing that happened was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He went round asking different creation. For example, He went around asking the sky, "Oh heavens, I have a gift. I have a gift. If you utilize this gift in my obedience, this trust, this amana that I've got, if you utilize this gift in my obedience, I will give you such a reward that no other creation has ever seen before. But if you utilize this gift in my disobedience, I will punish you in such a way that no other creation has been punished before." When it was presented, this is all from the Quran, by the way, I'm not making anything up, this is all from the Quran. I'm just doing explanation of the verse. وَإِذْ أَرَادْنَا أَمَانَةَ عَلَى الْجِبَالِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْجِبَالِ, and so on. So what happened was that when it was presented to, for example, the heavens rejected it. When it was presented to the mountain rejected it. When it presented to the earth rejected it. When it was presented to all different creation, including angels, they rejected. But when it came to me and you, the spirit of human beings and the jinnas, we accepted it. We accepted this trust. Now let me ask is that, does anybody know what this trust is? This amana, this gift. We've got one brother who knows. Anybody else? Okay. Brother Rauf, can you tell me what it is? वो अमानत क्या है? Yeah, somebody like to say that in English? Would you like to say that? Free will. Okay, free will. This gift, this amana, which no other creation has been given previous, is the freedom of will. Freedom of will, freedom of choice. Now, before I move anywhere, when I say freedom of will, you're free to do whatever you want, what does it mean? Brother, what does it mean? Okay, that's good. Go on, what do you do?
Having a choice.
Having a choice, but what does it mean, freedom of will? What does it mean? You know, you hear people say, it's your free will, you do, you know. Huh? Do what you want, there you go. Do what you want. Because you're free to do whatever you want, isn't it? That's what they say, you're free to do whatever you want, bro. You're free to do whatever you want. The thing is, are you? Are you? Most of the time when people hear the fact that you're free to do whatever you want, technically you're not. Why? You don't want to die, but you have to die. You don't want to fall ill, but you fall ill. You don't want to be in poverty, but you are. You want to be a billionaire, but you can't be. You want to live a life of luxury, but it's not possible. You want to have the most finest food, but you can't. So it's not that possible that you could do whatever you want. It's a myth. But like the brother said, that freedom of will, the choice is actually limited towards either being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it. Either utilizing the will to do positive or to do negative. Simple as that. In this little scope. Because the other thing, for example, life and death, poverty, richness, is not in your control. It's in Allah's control. But in whatever scenario that He places you in, what is in your control, whether you obey Him or disobey Him. For example, the azan goes off, the azan is given, you pray or you don't pray. You go to the masjid or you go to the pub. It's up to you. You decide which one you want to go for. That is the freedom of will. So then, that's one important aspect, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the freedom of will to human beings and jinnat. Now the three promises or covenants is going to take place. The three covenants. One, the first covenant is now explaining is why you should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why you should worship is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gathered, like for example here we've all been gathered, everybody, all the spirits of human beings were gathered together, and like Uncle was saying, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then asked the spirits of human beings is, Alastu bi rabbikum? Am I not your Lord? And we all testify, qalu bala shahidana ya rabbal alamin. Yes, indeed, you are our Lord. We freely, willingly accepted that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our Rabb. We have accepted that He is our Rabb. He is the one we're going to worship. We freely and willingly accepted that. The next part believe, help, support the Messenger of Allah, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he was to come in their time. So they took a promise. The covenant of Muhammad, the Muhammadan covenant is to promise. They took that promise on our behalf that we will believe, that we will follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, help in his mission. La tu'minuna la tunsuranna bi, is that we will actually believe upon him and will actually follow him and help him, support him. Now, why this was important, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was trying to tell us is how to utilize that freedom will is to follow the Prophet of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is to follow him, to help him, to support him, to convey their message that he is brought. To do that, that is actually utilizing the freedom of will in the correct way, in the right way. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took another covenant, another promise from us, where in Surah Al-Yasin you see, Alam ahad ilaykum ya bani Adama Allah ta'budu shaitan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took a promise from us saying that, have I not taken a promise from you, O Bani Adam, Allah ta'budu shaitan, that do not worship the devil, don't follow him, don't worship him, innahu lakum aduwwun mubin, that indeed truly he is your open enemy. Why he is presenting that is so that we know how not to utilize the freedom of will, how not to use it. Now, what's the motto, Shaitan's motto? There's a motto that we use, but the Shaitanic motto, he has a motto. He has a phrase that he uses to live his life. Does anybody know what the motto is? You only live once? Okay, that's a good one. You only live once, that's true. Go on, Ahmed.
Just do it.
Just do it, okay?
Obey your flesh.
Now, Nike might get to us, so we better not, go there. So his motto is, you're free to do whatever you want. Do whatever you like. Enjoy. So that's why there's alcohol there, drink. There's drugs there, take it. There's women there, do whatever you want. Party along. Don't care, don't worry about anything. This carefree, this notion of being carefree and you're free to do whatever you like, this is the motto of Shaitan. And if we are of that mentality, and if we're of that attitude, and if we're of that mindset as well, it's going to be disastrous. We will be utilizing the freedom of will in the wrong way. So 4 things happen. 1, the amana, the giving of the freedom of will. Number 2, the covenant of obedience, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the covenant of obedience, that He is our Lord. The Muhammadan covenant, where we all testified where the prophets and messengers on our behalf took the promise that we will follow, love and support the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And number 3 covenant, which is the 4th incident, is that we will not follow or worship the devil. So how many important incidents was there? Where did that happen? World of spirits. Where did it happen? How many incidents? 4. Now who can name them then now? Is it clear? Right, okay. Now if you look here, if you just turn over, this will make it easy for you, okay? This is our story. Okay. This is what we talked about at the beginning. In the world of spirit, what happened was that this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the option of freedom of will. Truly did we offer an amana to the human beings. Here we go, there's the amana. That He offered it to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, but they declined to bear it and were afraid of it, but the man bore it. So human beings, myself and yourself, we accepted it. So then, this is the ahad Allah, covenant of loyalty, covenant of obedience, is that here, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us, Amana your Lord, and we said, yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are our Lord. That's the first covenant. The second covenant, the Muhammadan covenant, where the prophets are mentioned. Remember the time when we took a covenant from the people through the prophets? So the prophets and messengers, they took this covenant on our behalf. And because with the ummah of the Prophet Islam, it's more of a haqq for us to actually, is more binding for us to actually be with that covenant. Is that they agreed, so they said, we bear, so Allah said, okay, then I bear witness, I am one of the witnesses that you are amongst the witnesses. Okay, there we go. So that's the second covenant. The third covenant, the covenant of obedience, is that when Allah SWT made it clear not to worship the devil and not to follow his footsteps. So did I not enjoin upon you, son of Adam, not to worship the devil, not to worship shaitan? Indeed, he's your open enemy. And that's it. So 4 incidents, 3 covenants. So now where did that took place? That took place in the world of spirits. There. It took place there in the world of spirits. So that's what happened is that in the world of spirits. Why? Because now that Allah says, imagine, for example, Shu'aib, Junaid, Ahmed, now you agree to all of this. Now are you ready? Are you all ready? Imagine now Allah is talking to me and you, every single one of us, now saying that, are you now ready? I'm now going to send you to be tested on the face of the earth. Are you now ready? Allah SWT is now asking us, are we ready? That's why one by one, we're all being sent here in the face of this earth, here, in this dunya. Now, here, the Mashayikhs have said is that even with the shape of the dunya, you can learn something. So, what's the shape of the world here? Sphere, okay, but shaped like a circle. What can we learn from that? What ibra can we learn from it? What lesson can we learn? It goes round. This dunya, it keeps you go round and round in circles. You follow the dunya, it keeps you going round and round in circles. That's why the brothers are just go round the block. They go round the block. It's not that they go here, that they always go round the block. Vroom, 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 I'm beating away. There's no purpose. It's a purposeless life. That's what dunya is. If you follow the dunya, it will be like that. And the other lesson that you can learn from the shape of the earth is that it's shaped like a zero. A zero is telling you that dunya is nothing. It is going to be nothing. It will end up being nothing. So don't follow me. Don't follow me. Don't follow the dunya. So here, short period of existence till death. We are here. Now, as you can see, if you divide the life of this dunya, if you were to say an average lifespan of a person in this world would be about what, 60 years? Let's say hypothetically 60 years, okay? What you'll find out that in the 24 hours for 60 years, if we were to split it from the moment you were born to until a person passes from the age of 60, 13 years of that is spent in childhood. 13 years of that 60 years is spent in childhood. What you'll also find is that 15 years is spent in work and education. 15 years is spent in work and education. Then what you find is that, or some of us might be a bit longer, for some of us might be shorter, but 2 years spent in bath and toilet. 2 years spent in bathing and toilet. For the males these days, I think they spend more time than women do if you look in front of the mirror. 1 year just spent in anxiety and problems. If you were to divide that, 1 year spent in anxiety and problems. Then what happens is that you got 1 year, they say, people say I'm bored and they're not doing anything, they're bored. Boredom. 1 year spending doing nothing. Just sit there, no you're watching telly, no you're on the internet, you just sat there, just there, nothing. Doing nothing. Not eating, not drinking, not sleeping, just sat there. And if you calculate that, that's like equivalent to a year doing nothing. You just do nothing. And how many times have you heard people say, we're just bored? Don't know what to do. We're bored. And then, for some of us it might be more, for some of us it might be less. 22 years. If a person sleeps for 8 hours a day, then 22 years is spent in sleeping. 22 years. Of the 60 years. That's why a lot of the scientific people, the intelligent people, they used to sleep less because they said that sleeping is basically you wasting your life. If you're sleeping, you're not doing anything. Although your body has a right, yes, but you're not doing anything really. So the actual living of the 60 years you're doing is actually what? 6 years. That's when you're really living. When you're not working, when you're not educated, you're not in childhood, you're not doing anything. The real enjoyment of the mazza, the taste of real living is 6 years of the 60. Now, if I was to tell you, is that listen, I want you to all sign a contract here, that I want you to sign a 6-year contract. 6-year contract. You know, football players, they get given a contract, 5-year contract. Well, 6-year contract, I sign it here. What I'm going to do is that I will give you paradise. No, I tell you, because we can't understand paradise. I will give you 1 million pounds a year. In fact, I'll make it 1 billion a year for this 6-year contract. All I want from you is 1 hour 15. 1 hour 15. What I want you to do in that 1 hour 15 is just hang yourself upside down. And I'll give you 1 billion pound a year. You're not going to die. Nothing will happen. You just have to put yourself upside down for 1.5 hours. Who would be willing to do that? I think everybody's being shy. Is this what's happened? Is that everybody's saying, brother, 1 billion, hang you upside down? How far? Just tell me where do you want me to hang? I'll hang over there. Just tell me where to hang and I'll do it. Give me that £1 billion and I'll be very happy. Thank you very much, brother. Everybody will be willing to do that. They'll jump. They'll say, yes, we'll do that. Give me it. Okay? Now, that's for 6 years and you won't feel a thing because you look at the money. You know the value of £1 billion. If I said 1 million, yes, it's big. But when I said 1 billion, it's even bigger. Because you can understand the value of this world, the currency of the money of this world. But if I was to say, now change, I say, give me 6 years of your life and I'll give you in change Jannah, we can't put that into figure because we've not seen, we've not experienced. But effectively, this is what Allah and His Messenger are saying, is that give us 6 years of your life and in return of that 6 years of your life, we will give you an eternal life which is forever and ever, which is full of bliss and enjoyment, where whatever blessings you get, whatever fruit that you have, you eat that fruit, it's such a taste that you never experienced that taste before. You take another bite, it's even greater than the previous one. You take another bite, it's even greater than the previous one. Where the enjoyment just increases and increases and increases. It never ends. Never ends. Here, food will end, beauty will end, comforts will end, money will end. Something of one other time will end. But in Jannah, it will not end. It'll only increase. Your beauty will increase. You're looking good today, tomorrow you look even more beautiful, handsome. You're looking good tomorrow, even better than the day before, even better than the day before. Your hoods, they'll be even more beautiful. Every glance that you look at her, she'll be even more beautiful from the first glance. That's how it is. Now, brothers' eyes are now fixated, really. When we mention who's, everybody's eyes becomes fixated. Really, brother, yes. We won't go there, but that's not our topic. So this is the reality of dunya, really. Is that people say, oh, we've got a long life. No, ask uncles. If we were to ask these uncles here, is that they may be 50, 60 years old. If you ask them, how does 50, 60 years seem like, uncle? And they'll tell you, it's as if it's like yesterday. That's what they'll say. That's why in the Quran it says that when Malaika will ask them, it's like, how long do you think you tarried and lived in this world? Other than sin. Qalu, they'll say that Yawmun or Ba'da Yawm. Is'al al-Adin, ask those people who know. Maybe a day or part of a day. That's how this life will seem like in comparison to what Akhir will be. So what we'll do now here is that, so basically, is it frozen? So from this world, yes, it is frozen. We go to the next part, which is the world of Barzakh. What happens? A person is now, from this world, will go to Barzakh. In this world, like I said, the commonly you're going to use, in this world, you have to now demonstrate and exercise how to utilize your will, i.e. follow the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, follow his footsteps, follow him, support him, love him, and also to shun shaitan, to go against the devil, to go against his temptations and desires. So the next part, after you leave this temporary world, the next part is the world of Barzakh, or what we call the grave. When people enter the world of grave, is known as Barzakh. In Arabic it's called Barzakh, which means a veil. And that's basically the world, the life of the grave. Now here there's two types. The grave can be of two types. Either a garden of bliss or pit full of fire. It'll be one or the other. The garden of bliss is known as the higher part of the Barzakh, And the pit full of fire is in the lower part of the barzakh. Okay? There a person will be punished until day judgment, or he'll be in bliss until day judgment, one or the other. So then what happened is that we got, after barzakh, we got what? We have day judgment. When Hazrat Israfil Islam will blow the horn and everything, whole of the universe, everything will be actually destroyed. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask Israfil Islam to blow the horn again. And then what will happen is that everything will be resurrected. There, when in the Midana Hashr, when we're going to go to the plane of Hashr, day judgment will last for about 50,000 years. 50,000 years. And everything that you've done will be held accountable for. Imagine the scene of the judgment is that's why you hear, before we found it strange, but we heard like some people will be under the shade of Arsh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's alhamdulillah, they are good and well. But some people will be they'll be drowning in the sweat. Imagine if you're sweating, the sun is actually placed above you and you're sweating. You're sweating. And what's happening, some people's sweat will be up to the ankles, some people's sweat will be up to the knees, some people up to the chest, and some people will be drowning in the sweat. Because it's 50,000 years. What do you expect? That is going to happen. You're not going to be able to move. And that sweat, by the way, like here, the laws dictate that the water spreads. So for example, if we want to drop water, it will spread whatever. Here, there, nothing can move with the Izn Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you don't need anything to contain the water. The sweat will just gather up, pile up, according to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you don't need any walls or buckets to actually keep the water there. It'll just pile up and go up, however you want it. So day judgment there, what will happen is that if your good deeds outweigh your bad, and you died with Iman, faith, alhamdulillah, then you'll be into paradise. But if your bad deeds outweigh your good, disaster. Problem. Why? You'll be told to cross the bridge of Sirat, which is there, the pool Sirat. Let me just ask you a question. You heard many times is that the bridge, the pool Sirat, is sharp as a sword and thin as a hair. You've heard that in it. And when I was a kid, I think, how am I going to cross that, isn't it? Yes? You hear it's sharp as a sword, thin as a hair. And you think, that's why they probably even put this image like that here. There, you see. How on earth are you going to cross it? But let me just tell you is that actually the Pul Sirat is, yes, they're saying that it's very dangerous. One of the meanings that we can get, one of the isharas that we can get is very dangerous, and you can fall very easily if you're baggaged with sins. And you're not being forgiven. If you're baggaged with sins, you can fall very easily. But really the Pul Sirat has got valleys and mountains and oceans which you have to hurdle through. According to the hadith in which Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani Rahmallah narrates in his book, in Ghunya, is that he narrates, this is from Muslim Sharif, is one of the longest hadiths you'll find, is that they describe the Pul Sirat, the bridge of Sirat. And in that they describe, there are oceans and hills and valleys that you have to cross, and there are serpents there. And the serpents, if you were to enter the jaw of a serpent, it will take you 500 years to come out of that serpent. A snake. There are scorpions there. There are trees there. It will take you many years. Now these Sirat, the Pul Sirat, the arches from one arch, there are about 70 arches. From one arch to another, it takes about maybe 70 years for you to get across to one to the other. So what we're saying is that there are 7 levels of the Pul Sirat. 7 degrees. The lowest, the Asfal is where the munafiqeens will go through. The highest is where the mu'min believers, what they'll do is that the real believers, some of them will go across the Pul Sirat as if like a blink and an eye, or as if they're offering the Salat al-Fajr, like the Fajr prayer. That's how quickly they go through it. Some will run through it, some will actually then crawl through it, and some will actually unfortunately get through it. Hellfire will be underneath, and they fall into hellfire. So after the Pul Sirat, it's either one or the other. Either you fall into the hellfire, or you get entrance to paradise. That is our ultimate abode, one or the other. There's no third option. It's either hellfire or paradise. And ultimately, what I'm trying to pinpoint here is that for those brothers who are asking the question, what is my purpose? Our purpose is to achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By what? By following the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, giving, discharging the rights of the creation, having compassion of the creation by fulfilling their rights, by giving preference to Allah and His commands, by giving preference to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his way and his lifestyle, having compassion upon the creation, and also to be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the full 24 hours, to live a life as if we're seeing, believing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing me, is with me, is listening to me in all my 24 hours. And ultimately that leads to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is it. So, your question in terms of who am I? We are the spirit. Are we on a journey? Yes. Look, our journey started in the world of spirits. That's where we were created. Now what's happening is that we're here. Our journey does not end here. This is part of another phase of the journey. Then after we pass away, this in the barzakh is another phase, either there or there is another phase of the journey. Then the day of judgment is another phase of the journey. Eventually our journey will end either here or here. Heaven or hell. That is it. Now you might be thinking, brother, what is it? Well, guess what? It's a one-way journey. You can't go back. Like one brother said, you got one chance in life, yeah? One chance. You only live once. Maybe he's Mr. Bond, I don't know. But anyway, one chance, one opportunity you have to achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's like, for example, you know, if you fail a driving test, you can sit it again. Fail an exam, you can sit it again. GCSEs, A-levels, degree, you can always resit it. But the test of this life, one chance. There's no second chance. There's no going back. When the angel of death will come, you say, give me one more second, they won't give you one more second. You won't get one more second even. Not one more second negation. Yeah? One chance, there's no second chance, there's no return. So when you see the punishment, that's why Allah says, when the mujrimun, when the evildoers will see, wrongdoers will see the punishment, they'll say, Ya Rabbal Alameen, please, we've seen now, we believed, return us well. Farjina na'ma salihah. Return us so that we may do good deeds. Allah said, no. I gave you one life. Really, it's not one life is given. Now I'm going to say something which maybe you never ponder upon it. But Shaykh Ahmad al-Baghdadi explained it in such a beautiful way so you can understand. What they said was that really when we say, that time when they will say, send us back. This time we'll be proper believers and we will do everything you want us to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, no, you're not going back because I know it's not just one life I gave you. Actually, every night that you sleep, you are like as if you're dead. Why? Your soul leaves the body. The only difference between the living and the dead is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives permission for the soul to return back to the body, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives permission for the soul to return back to the body, that's why you are alive. Otherwise, that's why now you can understand why who knows the dua for waking up. Alhamdulillah, ahyana ba'da amatana. Look, listen to the dua, listen to the words of the Prophet. He says, Alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa alladhi, he whom, what he has done? Ahyana, has given us life after he caused us to die. Now what's the dua for sleeping? Allahumma amutu wa ahya. Again he said, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in your name, amutu is when your hands will die, amutu wa ahya. And you're the one who gives life. Amutu wa ahya. So when you sleep, it is as if you're dying. Why? The soul is the body. Now what's happening? Allah says that
every day for me and you, what we should be thinking is that every day He's given us a new life. It's not one life we've led. Whatever, for example, if we're 20 and there's 365, somebody do the calculation, 365 by 20, that many lives He's given us. Is there any, somebody can do a calculation quickly? 720. So 20 years by 365 becomes 720? That can't be right. 7,200 lives that is given if you lived a 20-year life. Not one chance, but 7,200 times He's given you opportunity to actually change, to return back, to alter your life, to make it the life that He wants. So now everybody should be clear who you are. So who are we? We're the Ruh. So with this Ruh, what are we supposed to do in this world? What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to occupy ourselves? Seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, how will you do that? Follow the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You're clear on that, isn't it? Who are not supposed to follow? Shaitan and devilish ways. That's what we're not supposed to follow. Clear now, aren't you? Was anything complicated about it? Some of these things you might have known, some of the things you might not have known. Yes, brother.
In the world of spirits, we made a covenant. How come we can't remember that?
That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, is that the reason why the Quran, this is the reason why He's mentioned in the Quran, is because He knows that this is the question that people will actually say. This is that I don't remember. Even the Quran actually, the ayah actually even says this. In case you come to the day of judgment saying that I don't recall this. That's why He revealed the Quran to tell you that what happened in the past, what's happened to you now. If you look on the Quran is a miracle of the Quran, is the fact that it tells you what happened in the past, the present, and future. If you want to find who you are, find yourself in the Quran, you're mentioned there. You'll be mentioned there. You find, you'll know that you are mentioned. This is what Shaykh Ahmad al-Bagh, what they used to say is that find yourself in the Quran. You are mentioned there. With your state, whatever you're going through, it'll be mentioned there. You are mentioned. You find yourself and you say, oh my God, this is me. That's me. That's what I'm doing. That's what I was going through. And that's what I'm going to end up as. That's the important. So this is exactly what you're saying, is how can we remember? But if a person embarks on the path of spirituality and purifies themselves, then you'll be like the likes of Imam Ghazali rahimahullah. You all know about Imam Ghazali, don't you? He was a great, great scholar and great master in science of purification. And what happened is that once these veils are removed from you and the spirit and the body, when that's removed, then you will be able to know what happened in the world of spirit, who was on your left and who was on your right, and the incident that took place, and you recall all of that. So Imam Ghazali said is that I know I've come to a state that I know who's on my right and who's on my left. I am actually mutmain. I know what happened in the world of spirits. But because of the fact that the veils between the spirit, you, the spirit, and the body, is not able to transfer that information because of the darkness. And with purification, if you were to remove that, then maybe by the will of Allah, that information could be spread to you so you can remember. The body can then recall and remember by the passing of the information from the spirit. Okay? So now we all know what we're supposed to do, what our objective is, and how we're supposed to achieve that to a certain degree. I will hand that on now over to Ustaz Shahalom.
Yeah, first of all, regarding what Ustad Qais, Imam Qais has actually described and explained very beautifully, if you have any further questions, we'll take some questions as well, so that by end of today's session, that we are absolutely clear, there's no doubt in our mind that what is the purpose and direction. But before I say this, obviously this is all personal, and but I was trying to draw some like a generic theme. So from there, what I can gather what people wanted to know first of all is, for example, without mentioning anyone's name, one person wanted to know what is the purpose of life, or what is the meaning of life. So to answer that, this was what was just presented and mentioned today. So can I first of all, for our own sake and the sake of all the participants, are you clear that if someone were to ask you, that why am I sent in this world, then would you be happy or confident to answer this, or even to yourself? First of all, I would like just to, from a knowledge point of view, from today's session, if anyone wants to volunteer, put your hand up and say, yes, I am, or I need further clarification, then please do so. We'll be more than happy, in fact, we'll be extremely happy, I would say, that if you say, brother, what you just told me is great, but I did not understand a single thing. Please, but no, it's serious, because I'd rather you be honest and open about it.
Everybody's of different mentalities and different levels. We cater for all.
Yes.
Somebody might be a high, alhamdulillah, somebody low, no. We're here to learn, we're here to help one another. So if anybody has a less understanding, that's not a problem, we'll cater for that, we'll go through it again. So don't be hesitant and don't be shy saying, I didn't understand that. We're here to make sure, because that's what Allah said, like the hadith of the hadith Mubarak of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fid din, is that this is your understanding, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He wills good for you, He'll give you the understanding. And if you're not understood, we want you to have the understanding. We want to actually make sure you're understood fully.
I'll just take it out like that, inshallah. So, for example, another question was asked, I will just briefly mention for sake of our discussion, is that to understand why am I in this world. So it's very similar, that why am I in this world, what is the purpose of me being in existence, or why am I being created. So again, it's the same theme. Can I ask, okay, in fact, I'll randomly ask brothers and see, what they, I want you to just very briefly, in your own words, we're not expecting any technical or any Quranic definitions like Ustad Qais has done, that's fine. Like I said, in any lecture, they say you only attend 10% of what you hear. So you'll understand that you're not going to regurgitate everything that we said for the last half an hour. But I just want to see a summary of that, you got the gist of it, that's the important thing. So if I were to ask you, Brother Abdul Qadir, mashallah, so could you mention in your own words, what you understand from the question, if I were to ask you, what is the purpose of my existence in this world?
My understanding is that I am here to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay,
And,
mashallah.
the way to do that is to follow the Quran and the Sunnah.
Right, okay. So if someone were to ask you again the question that we began with, that who are you?
I am a spirit.
Okay.
Which is including my body.
Mhm.
My body separates, the spirit separate from the body.
Okay.
Means it can be in two types.
Okay.
It can be temporary.
Yeah.
It can be definite. Temporary is when we're sleeping. That means there is a disconnection between
True.
the body and the soul.
Yeah.
So if the soul is connected to the body, definitely is
Yeah.
means we dead.
Mashallah. Yes, very good, mashallah. That's excellent. That, so we've all understood that, there's actually, obviously because of the restriction of time and so on, that is actually, if you now think about it, if someone says, who are you? Yes, we are spirit. So we are basically our four components. One is the body. Second one is what? Anyone? Sorry? Go on. Don't be shy. No, one thing I like to say, there is no barrier here. Our main purpose is we trying to make sure that there is no barrier between you and us, or us and you. We are all we here. Because purpose is like they said, the teacher said earlier, we'd like to facilitate. Maybe some skill that you know that I'm lacking, then maybe the brother say, look, I can teach you this. I'm alhamdulillah ready for that. But whatever a little bit we know and learn, we'd like to obviously share that with yourselves. So be at ease. It's not like in a classroom setting, or it's not like a lecture setting. It is a setting whereby you feel comfortable, and I hope you'll find that we're approachable as well. It's not like some sheikh that say it's a long queue touch, but no, it's, we're really approachable as well. Down to earth. Hopefully you'll have similar, understanding as well. So yeah, please. Sorry, you were saying? Yeah. So for example, one is the body, one is the spirit, which is the actual who we are, the essence of it. One is someone else has something else whispered somewhere. Yeah, brother. What else are we? Are we just a body and the spirit? Is there anything in between that? Okay, soul, yeah. Nafs, okay, nafs, yeah, okay. Qalb, so what is qalb? Heart, yeah, the heart which has the emotional attachment to it, like the feeling of good, bad, love, and so on, yes? Anything else? Have we covered all?
Ego.
Yeah, we've mentioned ego, nafs. Okay, mashallah. Anything else? I think there's one missing, I think. Sorry? Mind, of course. What we understand as where the intellect comes from. So this is like 4 or 5 components of us. So now straight away you understand that it's not one me, it's not Anna one, it's not me, one person. It's actually 5 persons inside me. There's my body, which is the outward. Then it's my mind, the kind of like it processes the information, so to speak. Then the heart is in relation to your feelings and so on, good feeling and bad feeling. And then also there's that desire aspect, which we discussed briefly yesterday, if you remember, which is where the nafs and it generates from. And then there's the spirit, which is the essence of everything. So imagine if all of 5 different components of you are fighting each other. Now, if you just imagine for a second, imagine each component has its own needs, and he's always fighting, and we're in the middle, or the spirit is in the middle. He doesn't know which way to turn, and really that's what's sometimes happening in our life. And here, one of the things mentioned, if you remember what Hazrat Sheikh was saying earlier, you have to synergize. Remember the example he gave earlier in the lectures? So basically, one of the aspects of synergy here also means that your body, mind, and heart and soul becomes all in sync. So it's not that your roots, spirits want something, or I want to worship Allah, your body wants to do something else. Or my intellect says something, I want to do something else, and your heart says something else. So you're all dispersed and you're all in all directions. Part of the going to the training and knowing our purpose in life and going through that process, that you synergize, you become in sync with your body, mind, and heart and soul. So first of all, inshallah, I hope obviously now you understood, the kind of who are we or why are we sent in this world. And if you ever get stuck of this concept, Ustad Qais said so many things, or what shall I say? I will always say that what we use our term is use that diagram. And then really, if you look at it, it's like a 5-stage of journey of man. So if someone says, is like the example given earlier, if you remember, of a frog. Who remember that story or that analogy? One frog just stayed in that well and that's it. Another frog, he actually, he traveled around, lived the world and came back and said, that's not the world, that's not it. Similarly, today, or this session now, Ustad Qais have just shown to us, like, a frog from outside. I'm not calling you frog, by the way. That, there's actually much more than the well of this world that we know and we see. There's a world we come from before, which is the spirit, then the grave coming up, then the day of judgment, and obviously paradise and hell. So just capture that in your mind to understand, why we're here and what journey we're on. So that broadens our scope and our horizon as well. We're not narrow mind, it's just limited to this world, and everything is revolving around what's happening in this world. So just one more, I can maybe ask randomly, what they understood in terms of the purpose of life and why we're in this earth. Can I ask, yes, you brother. Sorry, what's your name? Bilal. Yeah, please. In your own words. If you can mention those 4 incidences as well, that's fine, if you remember. Right, sure. So that free will is if you remember the 4 incidences I mentioned, and out of the 4, the 3, second, third, and fourth are the covenants or the promises we took with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what it means, covenant. First one is that Allah ta'ala gave us the option. Do you want this? Freedom of choice. It has consequences. He's offered it to, I'm not going to repeat everything again, but he offered to the mountains and the heavens, and they're all rejected. They said no. The consequence and the repercussion of not fulfilling its right is so much that they were all cried. And they said, we don't want to take that. And it's only us human beings and the jinnaats have actually taken that. In a way, Allah Ta'ala actually said in the same verse that we were ignorant, that we accepted this amana. That's the first thing. So that actually really answers, I'm not going to say this is not a topic of our discussion, that really answers when you meet someone outside, they say, there's so much evil out there in the world. If God exists, then why does he allow this to happen? Now, if you really think about it, this actually answers your fundamental question as well. Like I said, I'm not going into it, but maybe you can think about that and come back to us. That, I've actually worked it out, why. And I can answer a non-Muslim when they ask me next time. That's something else to think about. It's based on those 4 concepts that we discussed and how we set the scene in that journey and why things happen in the way that we don't like to happen in the world. And there's a reason for that. So there's the 4, like I said, incidents that took place in the world of spirit. So, and then we were sent in this world to test us. Do we abide by the promise we took with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of the spirit in the world of spirit? And obviously the consequence of that is, as soon as we die, the freedom of choice is taken away, and the consequence begins from the qabr, from day judgment and paradise and so on. So just quickly, if you recall back to the discourse Hazrat Shaykh Ahmad Daba was mentioning, that the type of birth, like 3 types they mentioned. First one is the physical, which is the animalistic, the life that we live. And the second one is the intellectual. So inshallah, after simply today's session and all the sessions that you attended, I hope we are all intellectually been born now. What I mean by that is the first one, he says that the day when a person realizes why they were born. So after today, we should say, Alhamdulillah, good news that I'm born. It's my birthday today. Yeah, in one sense. And
There should be some cakes today.
17th, 18th.
I think it's 17th.
I could tell you it's coming up to 23rd of Ramadan. That's all I know for now.
But cakes all over for everybody.
Inshallah. And then number 2 was mentioned that to achieve the purpose, how to achieve the purpose of existence. Now this question of how is inshallah in the 2nd, 3rd sessions Ustad Qais will go through. And this will become more clear to you. And so many of the questions that are asked here, that I want to go close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I want to start the journey, or what is this journey to reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I want to attain knowledge. This all will come in this session inshallah. So stay tuned. I'll come back to you, inshallah. So, but the 3rd point mentioned in that the birth of the intellect is that you have a holistic vision of life. So today, at the end of today's session, 2 things have been covered, i.e. why we were born, and number 2, what is this holistic vision? But Ahmed, what is this holistic vision?
What you see after
Exactly. That's what I wanted. Just that's why really psychologically, when we think about something, we don't go through the full paragraph of reading to think about something. We just go. It's like a light bulb comes up, and I want you to have this light bulb in your mind. Is that every time someone says, "What is this holistic journey, holistic vision?" Is this? There's nothing more greater than this that we've been discovered today, inshallah. So we're on the process of becoming fully intellectually human being as well, alhamdulillah, after today's session and subsequent sessions as well. So there's something else I just recalled as well, that one person, for example, asked that I want to also increase the knowledge of Islam. Now, just purely after sitting for 45 minutes, the people go to madrasa and they become scholars and expert in Islam. But that's gaining knowledge or information. And there's one thing, like Ustad Qais and the other Ustads have said, is the one thing is that Allah Ta'ala blesses someone who has the understanding of deen. Now, that doesn't mean that you know every single hadith or Quranic verse that has ever been revealed or discussed in the academia. No. What it means is that you understand the summary and you understand the purpose. Yeah, there are details, and inshallah we will learn the details as well. But from today's session, would you be happy to say, yes, I've actually understand some of the summary of the meaning of the purpose of Islam is? And I don't know who is, I'm not going to mention the name. Those brothers who actually asked that question, they want to increase the knowledge of deen, which we all want, alhamdulillah. Would you say that the journey has begun as well? This journey has also begun here today? Would you say that you're satisfied to say that it is? Yes, because I found out that why am I here now, what I need to do, or we'll discover that through the course of next couple of sessions, and where we're going. So the knowledge part of the experience of learning the knowledge has also begun as well in this session. And inshallah, again, we'll give you opportunity for more questions specifically. The third thing, very quickly, I want to say, look at generically, the third request was that almost everyone will agree if I say that they all want, the third category is, they want to learn the paths to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we'll discuss, and also they want to improve their prayer. If I were to ask you to put your hand up, would you all say yes? Either I want to establish my prayer, or I want to bring in khushu and khudu, the devotion in prayer. Yes? Specifically, we'll address that as well, give you specific solutions, how I actually develop that. Not just theoretical that we're talking today, but we give you a specific solution. As well as if you have some, like for example, we could say our devotion is one thing, but I can't maintain my 5 daily prayers. Don't be upset or be disheartened. Inshallah, we'll give you a solution for that as well. Inshallah, they can practice upon and improve as well. So these are the 3 main categories which we actually discovered from this. Like I said, and then after that, you'll be given a specific one-to-one session whereby if you have any specific need or obstacle that you mentioned here, we also noted that as well, that is causing you issues or problems to attaining your objective, we can have the one-to-one guidance, which will be confidential, specific, private to you only, inshallah. So this is 3 level, inshallah. So regarding, like again, what Ustad Qais mentioned and what I've mentioned, if I have further questions or elaboration comments, this is your chance now, inshallah. Yes, brother Pantim.
I had a couple of questions for Imam Qais.
Sure, I'm going to pass the mic over to him anyway, inshallah. That's fine.
First question is, how can I get a beard like yours?
MashaAllah. Good thing you didn't say my beard.
And the serious note is, in the Quran, it's mentioned over and over again that those إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, they will get the gardens. They will get to reach the Jannah.
First of all, is how you can make a beard like yours, and secondly is the question is basically saying is that in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَهُمْ جَنَّةٌ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ, etc. So he keeps on saying that those who believed and do amal salihah, for them will be the Jannah or the Garden of Eden and paradise. So what's referring to that?
So where is this idea of pleasure of Allah being extracted from?
Right.
Because it is in other places, but I was just sort of wanted to hear where is the source of this concept of the pleasure of Allah. And the other question, I can answer now. Is where does the story of Adam alayhi salam fit into this?
Into this?
Story?
Right, okay. First of all, if you want to beard like the sunnah beard is you let it grow and you let the weight of gravity pull it down. One of the wonderful saying of Sayyidina Ali radhiyallahu anhu, he said is that if you want to see, and this is no, please don't take this to heart, anybody, everybody's at different levels, and it's your levels of love and devotion, etc. etc. I don't recall one day our teacher Shaykh Ahmad Abba ever telling us you must grow a beard and etc. etc. It's out of love. And when that love actually grows, then you'll do it automatically. Just like those people who love a particular football team, Barcelona or Real Madrid, or if they love, for example, a cricket team or a movie star or pop star, they're automatically dressed in the same color as that football player or that movie star. You see them keeping the same hairstyles, same thing, and so on. So when the love of Prophet actually is within you, grows, you'd also want to be mimicking them to whatever extent. Well, just quickly tell you the caller said that Ali radhiyallahu anhu is that if you wish to, he gave the comparison of a person with a beard and non-beard, and please don't take any offense. He said is that, for example, on a fertile land, the plants grow, the crops grow. And if the land is not fertile, then it doesn't grow. So you need to analyze is how fertile is your land. If you want to make your land fertile, then let it grow. Okay. With regards to the concept of pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jannah is the manifestation of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But also the verse of the Quran says, وَرُضْوَانَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. The greatest thing is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Jannah really is effectively a manifestation of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then what happens is that the greatest
pleasure, you could say, one of the greatest, the climax of the pleasure, of the pleasure in Jannah is the actual viewing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's majesty and glory. That is actually seeing Him and having ziyarat of Allah. That is the greatest thing. That's the concept where we're actually coming from. There are countless other hadiths as well, but we won't go there. Now, with regards to the third question, with regards to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, and the concept is that the whole narration of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam is actually explaining is that if you look at the story between Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam and Iblis, and that's why we're explaining to us, if you look at their story, is who to follow, who not to follow, what are the consequences of following, what are the consequences of not following. So him, for example, he was living in paradise, and what happened was that he wanted a greater life, an eternal life, and then Shaitan temptation fell, and then he ate the forbidden fruit, and because of that he came to this face of the earth, and then he re-established himself, reconnected, meaning that in terms of through sincere tawbah and repentance, that what he did was he showed us, me and you, effectively the story, how it fits is that he being our father, he being the well-wisher of me and you, he is our father ultimately. We have great-grandfather, he is our great-great-great-grandfather. He is our father, and he told me and you, showed me and you, listen, is that if you want to achieve paradise in Jannah, if you want the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you need to achieve paradise in Jannah, one of the secrets or one of the things that hikmat, wisdom behind why it happened that he came to this face of this earth and not lived in Jannah, because one of the wisdom is that according to Ibn al-Sikandar rahmallah, one of the masters of the science of purification, they state is that he ate the forbidden fruit, like Shaykh Ahmad Abbas said, is that in Jannah and in paradise, sorry, I don't think that is working. In Jannah and paradise, alright, is that what it is? In Jannah and paradise is that, like Shaitan, what he did was that he didn't bow down to Adam Islam. One command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he did not fulfill. And because of that one non-fulfillment of the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and disobedience, forever ever he became cursed, and forever ever he's become away from paradise. And knowing that, because of that, what Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam did was that realizing, yes, he is a prophet, but my children, there will be no prophet amongst them as such. Meaning that there will be some who are prophets, so most of them will be non-prophets. There will be saints, there will be awliya, common people like me and you will be like them. They will mistake, they will commit sins, they will error. So for their betterment, instead of basically, I'm putting into my words what I'm saying is that instead of harming them so that they become completely bereft or derived of entering paradise, I will sacrifice my stay in this paradise, in this heavenly life, and I'll go to the earth and live there, where I will then come to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are certain qualities and sifat and marifah he got by coming to the earth, because, for example, the manifestation that he is provider, he's a Razzaq, he started to understand that he got more ma'rifah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by farming and producing crops, and this was his skill. The speciality of Sayyidina Adam Islam is he was a farmer. He actually planted seeds, and food will grow, fruits will grow, and he actually understood that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the provider, he's the sustainer, he's the nourisher. So he came to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even more by being on the face of the earth. So he got more ma'rifah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also he showed us that when you do make a mistake, oh my children, remember this, when you do make a mistake, he didn't sin, but for teaching me and you, he sacrificed his heavenly life, you could say, and his ease and comfort for me and you, and showing me and you that if you make a mistake, if you sin, if you error, don't be arrogant like Shaitan did. Accept your fault, accept your mistake, and bow down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and turn to Him in humbleness and humility. That is why if you look at the call, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does two things, look at how wonderful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still gives Shaitan a chance. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Shaitan, Ma manaka an tasjuda li Adam? What hindered you in prostrating Adam? This was a chance really for him to repent, for him to turn back. So what did he do? Like some of us do, we use our logic. Ya Rabbal Alameen. He thought he had a wonderful relationship. It doesn't matter. So he thought, Ya Rabbal Alameen,
I am made out of fire, he's made out of clay. Let me use logic. Fire rises, earth sinks, clay sinks, so I'm better than him. So it wasn't right for me to bow down to something which is better. I am better, he's not better, so I didn't want to prostrate. Fakhruj. Allah SWT get out. Same type of su'al Allah SWT presented to Adam. Oh Adam, did I not tell you not to go to the forbidden tree? What is said in Adam's response? Rabbana zalamna anfusana. Look at the two response. One was arrogance, but Sayyidina Adam, the beautiful what he said, Ya Rabbal Alameen, Rabbana zalamna, I have wronged myself. Anfusana, I have wronged myself. And if you don't forgive me, Ya Rabbal Alameen, there's none who can forgive other than you. So look, is that he is Sayyidina Adam Islam is teaching me and you is that when you do sin, when you commit sin, own up and submit and turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And through that, after turning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, sometimes we think I've lost everything. Because here he was in paradise, came to the face of the earth, he lost him. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him the Khalifa of the face of the earth. He raised his status even higher really. Is that when you will sin, when you commit error and you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change that and give you even higher status than what you were before. So then what he's saying is that here, when you come back in the face of the earth, like what he did was that he's then showing me and you how to get back to paradise. That's what he's doing. He's showing you is that yes, we're all going to die one day. Yes, we're all going to pass away temporarily from this face of the earth. Yeah, we're all going to have accountability. But really, I'm showing you how you can go back to paradise. And that's what all the prophets and messengers did, the same message. They talked about, you'll see this generic message, universal message of all prophets and messengers was this. Is that this dunya, about akhirah, about jannat, about jahannam, and the consequences of your action. About tawheed, the oneness of Allah, to worship Him, to actually strive and do amal salihah. If you look at the university, all the prophets and messengers all said is that do good deed and righteous deeds because you'll be accountable because of the akhirah. And then what will happen, there'll be either consequence, you are to paradise or hellfire. This is the universal message that every single prophet and messenger actually conveyed. So this is in relation to what they said is that if you want also, is that all of this you even find in the Torah and in the Injil. This ma'amula that we're talking about, you'll find it there as well. If you study deep enough. This is a universal message that every single prophet and messenger actually conveyed. Okay?
Yeah, obviously, inshallah, those as well. The fourth aspect is that after learning and giving any specific solutions, if you also would like to start the journey as well, you'll be given the opportunity. But I think just one thing I'd like to point with the Tansim, what you said earlier, is that I think you believe you asked where does the Adwan story fit in? And the thing is, if you look at that, what is being shown here is a template of a journey of man. But then now your story and my story fits in there. And so Adam alayhi salam being the first human being and the Nabi, his story was unique. Unique in every sense of the word because he wasn't born from a mother and a father. Whereas the rest of the human being race is born from a mother and a father, or at least from a mother, in case of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. So what this is shown really is just a template of a journey of man, or journey of a man, you could say. Obviously, in Adam alayhi salam, he still went through those processes, but maybe it was quite unique that they were also in paradise as well, and then they came back. But he said, remember, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will, he could do whatever he wishes so. But like I say, he's unique, and no other human being actually has gone through that process except him. Because he's a prophet, he was set an example for the rest of the creation. So this is obviously from the, like I said, Quran and Sunnah, is a template that shows that every single soul of human being will go through that journey. Only difference with Adam alayhi salam was that he was slightly like going back and forth for a reason, for a test and examination, as the Ustad Qais have said, inshallah. But the Abdul Qadir, you put your hand up earlier.
I wanted to just point out something that you just said a few minutes ago.
Yes.
And I think that the moment we get to know why we're here is actually the moment we become a real Muslim. Because I can take my example for instance. I became a Muslim and I just read the statement like 100%. And I didn't know exactly what is the purpose of it. And I believe it's not just me. Many Muslims around.
True, that's true.
These are Muslims, but they don't really of like this. So for me, I do believe that you get to know what is your purpose of life, like was explained a few minutes ago. Is the moment we get to be real Muslims and struggle, because to do that, to pleasure Allah, is not something that's easy to do.
Of course.
Says it's easy to do, no, it's not doing exactly what we should be doing, because that path is hard, is a struggle. So if I'm wrong, what I just said, please.
No, what you said exactly is 100% correct. Obviously, it's not an easy path. It's not just a walk in the park to Jannah. But at the same time, it's not like so difficult that it's impossible. It's a middle way. Remember, we learned from Surah Baqarah and the dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not burden someone more than what they can bear. So the burden aspect is there, but it's not something that is unbearable. That, it's too much, I can't do my 5 daily salah, it's too much. No, it is. I mean, if there are you could say, excuses. Someone who maybe, for example, can't pray standing up or going to masjid because of certain illness, or can't stand up, they can sit down and pray. For example, there are Sharia excuses where if you can't go to masjid to do jama'ah because of certain reason, you can pray at home. You're excused, there's no sin upon you. So Islam gives leeway where something that limit is reached for someone to fulfill a command. So it is doable, if I use that word, yes, there is an effort needed. So it's not, for example, like, without intention or without effort, things going to happen. Because then where is the sense and where is the concept of test then in this world? If nothing, everything happens automatically. Because maybe I would say 90 to 95% of the things in our life or the surroundings that we live is happening automatically. Do you know what I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Because look at our life, our own body, and the biological and the chemical function that's taking place. It's all happening automatically. I'm not doing anything. I'm not putting anything in symbol. I'm not putting any effort whatsoever to ensure that the digestive system is working in its order. Like the kidneys are removing all the harmful effects and salts and purifying my blood as well as the fluids and so on. What contribution am I doing in this case? So if you look at our own human body, let alone everything else, I would say 99% of the things that's happening is automatic. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already taken many of the duties and automated it. So only thing is, only few aspects is because we've actually accepted that amana. So okay, if you accepted the amana, there you go. Few things you have to put an effort to. It's not going to be like I said, walk in the park, but nonetheless, it's not going to be impossible. The moment it becomes impossible for you, then you're again free from that duty. Someone who becomes insane because of the mental instability or illness, he's free from the duties of salah and so on. For example, we eat forgetfully in month of fasting. When we're fasting, we're not liable or we're not sinful for that because it's happened beyond our control. So look how merciful He is, in fact. And what He said about, yes, the moment that you realize the why you were created for, the purpose that you understand, the moment you are intellectually were born, and yes, you're right 100% that you actually become a better or true Muslim, because now you understand your purpose, not just said kalima of la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. You're still a Muslim. So like in the intellectual list that we saw earlier, to become fully born intellectually, there's 10 different things mentioned. And today we've covered 2 aspects, if you recall. So you could say our birth has begun, but it's not complete yet. Yeah? So we need to go to those 10 points to ensure that not only we're born physically, but we're born intellectual as well. Then the spiritual one is still left to explore. So yeah, you're right in that sense. But again, always remember, it's actually a shaitanic trick as well. that he uses both sides of the argument. Sometimes he uses that, oh, I'm great, I could do everything. Or why can't these people can't do it? These so-called Muslims, they don't even pray. So that thought comes in and makes you like feel better, like haughty, oh, I'm better Muslim. That's one angle. And the other angle is just too much. It's not for you. This Islam, this business of Islam and praying and and following the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Sunnah Rasul, it's too much. It's not for you. He uses the other side, so he tries from both angles as well. So you have to strike a balance. With our capability, we can do it, but it's not impossible, inshallah, at the same time. Inshallah. I think we're going to wrap it up now, yeah? I think just give you time to get ready for iftari as well, and any dua you want to do as well. This is a blessed time, before Maghrib and obviously before the iftari as well, that they know most likely the du'as are accepted. So remember just very quickly what we practiced yesterday, some of the muraqabah's contemplation. Use those techniques now and open up your heart and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. If you have those questions in your mind, like how do I go close to him, use the opportunity, ask Allah ta'ala, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the end of the day, it is you who can bless us so that we can go close to you. It's nothing because of my effort. At the end of the day, if you go to the bottom, the essence of it, it is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bless us and take us to him, inshallah. So use that time now wisely, inshallah, and to connect with him, inshallah. Jazakallah for your time, inshallah. Tomorrow we'll continue. We'll learn about the how part to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then inshallah we can give you specific solutions to any questions as well, inshallah. Jazakallah. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, I think if you recall, I did kind of warn you. Sometimes you go to this heightened expansion experience, and when you drop down and you go to those troughs and you feel quite disappointed and you're not connecting and agitated. Yeah, no, I think
not sure about, or are they still around?
No, I'll explain to you. Did I warn you already? This vision is, Shaitan obviously, that other influence is minimized. The big ones are locked up. Don't forget the little ones are still out there, the little ones are those. But that's not a major thing. Also what happens is psychologically and spiritually there's something, especially spiritually, there's two concepts that people explained and maybe you can relate to it as well. There's a concept called qabs and bast. Bast is a period of expansion where you feel quite tender hearted, so everything's happening, you want to spiritually. This is a blessing of Allah blesses everyone. And then it goes through that phase. It's like a state, mental state. Then there's another state called qabs, constriction, where you feel like your heart is all closed in, and you're struggling, you can't control Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, your thought is wondering what's going on. So like I said, it could be from shaitan, but ultimately it's a state of both. And if you look at it, both of the states, they're not actually, obviously the first one, qabs, the expansion of it is good. You feel it. So that's a good thing. But it has a kind of tell you that is. And the cubs, the constriction, yes, outwardly it's kind of looks disappointing, but that has benefits. Because what Allah is training us, our spirit, our soul, is that He's checking our intention. Who are you doing it for? Because when you go to your period of expansion, you're feeling quite soft-hearted, tender, because at the end of the day, are you really doing it for feeling for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And in fact, this one I'm going to explain to you, part of the purification process we initiate. Not at the first time, but slightly there's a different level of sincerity. The second level, 2 or beyond, you actually really understand this and work on it. So really, in a way, you become free from that. You really worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a servant. Feeling is good. It's Mahmoud, they call it like, it's like add-ons or like a, like you have in the main course deal, like you got some chocolate, helps. Well, human beings for that, and that's another type of shaitan itself. That's why I said there's a coming part. And so many people cannot fathom this whole experience concept. And so when the cups comes in, they leave everything. It happens like when in Salah, sometimes you feel Salah, all devoted, everything else.
Sometimes just
And sometimes everything goes like someone like a switch. Qalb, I mean, qalb is alternated, it changes. The Shaykh Ahmad Abbas example of the people roaming around, that the qalb roaming around, either side, you don't know what's happening. One thing is qalb is roaming around, but yeah, it has its fixed destination as well. So that roaming around the heart is flipping from cups and bust. If you can fix that to a destination, to a destination for a target, no matter if you're going through those emotions, those breaking points, still you know where the goal is. It's like a journey, sometimes you got to go in a nice moment in the journey, sometimes it's very difficult, like a journey like you need to, let's say, far from you. But if you know your destination, I'm going to go Bangladesh, and you go to your good times and bad times, but then the day you know you're going somewhere. Whereas like the example of people moving on the street aimlessly, going around, or feel like going there, feel like going there, but aimlessly, there's no target, you're wasting time and just doing as you please. So it's a slightly
it's
deeper.
part of the journey.
It's part of the
It's
journey.
not something
No,
serious
it's
that
part of the journey. Also, that other, like I say, with everything like they say, you take one thing, lose it, it's kind of. So what it is, sometimes you have to spiritually prepare yourself so that you minimize any of the external influence. So i.e. tuning your mind, which we will discuss much today, so that you're ready. That's when you're advised before you come together, you also October, grand mistake of without an influence. So all this has influences, but kindness is something else as well. So you can attune your mind, refresh your mind, you will do. If for example, tiredness is something as well, you can be tired. If you can't rest, you can't rest with it as well. It's like, you have to attune and fine-tune yourself. And it's like a boxer. Sometimes boxer wins or loses, but the preparation starts to go through. The boxer loses, you might just say, oh, what's the point? I spent 6 months in the gym, taking high intake calorie, this intense exercise. Pointless, I've lost. But things like that, you only be fighter, you won't last long. You won't win championship because losing is not, if you really think about like Muhammad Ali said, it's not really losing, it's an experience. So that you know better next time you can win. Well, in the case of Islam and spirituality, there's no losing concept. Because the past is not really losing. It's a barrier created for you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
to actually improve.
to improve you. Instead, plus that are you able to maintain the concentration when things are not going against you, for you. When things are going against you, like I said, there's 5 components, like things are dying in different directions. So one thing, the focus of thought intensifies and become more stronger, despite all these issues you still need to maintain. So that's a couple of his own benefits as well.
It's part of the journey.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
suppose,
part of
of
the
course,
growth.
yeah. Obviously, like you have to also minimize some of the influences as well, like I said. Like, your mind is when you're focused, what's in your mind, refresh, do some thought of the benefits of sin as well. All this is very important. No, inshallah. You all go through, I go through, everyone goes through that. Everything
Because I
human being goes
started
through
so
that.
well and then suddenly I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
This is all actually what is happening. This is part of the practice. So if you want to know, I can do this.
Bismillah. Just a quick announcement. We've got about 15 minutes until time for iftar. So for the 15 minutes that you have now, inshallah, utilize it effectively. Try not to chat too much. This is a time where supplications are accepted. Also, the other thing is those of you who have the pack, Assalamu alaikum, brothers, just bear with me for a moment. For those of you who have the pack, there's the Amaz Laylatul Qadr. You can start doing those now. Obviously not the prayer part, but the supplications. So inshallah, just have a look at those as well. Assalamu alaikum.